Let's talk about OCD and the brain. Have you ever wondered what is going on inside of my brain when I'm experiencing OCD symptoms? Well, let's talk about it for a minute. There is this tiny little piece of your brain called the amygdala. The amygdala is the fear center of our brain. It's responsible for alerting us to danger and keeping us safe. Super important mechanism in our brain. It's why us as humans have been able to survive for so long on this planet. It keeps us safe in the face of danger. It's going to create that response inside of us to take action and do something. That's where we get the terms fight, flight, also freeze and fawn as well, because those are responses that we may have when we're in a dangerous situation as well to keep us safe. But let's think about OCD for a moment. OCD is defined by unwanted, intrusive thoughts that then lead us to want to do compulsions to eradicate the thought or feeling that we may be experiencing that's stirring up some fear. So I don't know about you, but thoughts are typically not actually dangerous in my book. So when we get an intrusive thought that says, hey, what if something really terrible happens if you don't do this right now? Or what if something bad happened in the past that now you have to figure out or fix in some way? We are reacting to that thought in the same way that we'd be reacting to a bear out in the woods. And when I say we, I really mean that little amygdala that's inside of our brain. It's releasing a bunch of chemicals into your body to get you to respond. It's interpreting that intrusive thought as a threat, as something that is so dangerous that you need to take immediate action or else you're not going to be okay. So, of course, what do? We do the compulsion. We try to fix that feeling in the moment and we get that temporary relief. And then we say, okay, thank goodness that's over. We feel okay. We feel safe until the next thought pops in that elicits that same response. So, what's happening here? Our amygdala is misfiring around these intrusive thoughts that we get, and we need to teach it something different. So, what we can do is we can actually train our amygdala to respond to those threats as things that are not threatening anymore. It takes a little while to rewire our brain, but what that would look like is we could get an intrusive thought, and instead of responding through some sort of safety behavior or compulsion, we're going to allow our brain to feel uncomfortable for a bit. And I know that sounds really scary and difficult, and it is, but it's super rewarding because what's going to happen is your amygdala, after a little while, is going to say, wait, why is she not reacting to me anymore? Does this mean that maybe that thought wasn't as threatening as I wanted her to think that it was? And then the anxiety and the distress is going to start to come down naturally on its own without you having to intervene or do anything in that process. And now your brain has this opportunity to say, wow, okay, I guess that thought wasn't as dangerous as I perceived it to be. So next time it pops in, I'm not going to alert her to that in the same way. So fast forward, intrusive thought comes up again, and we practice not reacting to it again. The amygdala now has another opportunity to let it go through the process of maybe wanting to react, but maybe it's dialed down a little bit more this time. And the more that we keep practicing that, the more the amygdala has this opportunity to realize that these things aren't dangerous. These are just thoughts. And when we don't react to them, we don't reinforce them to keep happening in the same way. So that doesn't mean that you're never going to have an intrusive thought again, but we can very much take the power back by not feeding our amygdala these messages that these thoughts are actually harmful in any way. Even though they feel like it, if we can really try to dial down our responses, we can have a totally new learning experience in the brain, which I think is pretty cool and worth trying. Thanks.